Hey y'all. Hi there. It's Marissa Faye. I am a hormone and gut health expert for women. I help women reverse and reduce their symptoms with natural methods. I just thought I would pop on because there's been a lot of activity here related to thyroid health, related to hormone health today, related to gut health. So I wanted to jump on and just field any questions that you have about things maybe related to your health or that we can all learn from. My philosophy as a hormone nutritionist here on TikTok is that this is a space for us all to learn. So I love answering questions. I've put some things up here. So I am here to answer any hormone or gut health questions I can. I'd love to know your name and where you are connecting from. I always love to see the chat get a little bit of love. I haven't done many of these lives, so I really love your encouragement. Apparently there are ways to wave. Hi, people waving. There are ways to wave and send flowers or hearts. So I love any of that engagement. It is really helpful for me, but I will, while you all are joining, and feel free, like I said, drop questions that you have related to hormone health or gut health. These could be things like thyroid, polycystic ovarian syndrome, endometriosis, IBS was a topic we've talked a lot about, autoimmune stuff. So these are things that have come up. We talked a lot about water recently on my page, on my area of TikTok, whatever the kids call it. Apparently I am a millennial and I do things like the millennial pause. Do you all know what that is? Apparently it's like waiting to see if somebody's connecting. So I'm trying to just vamp and talk here, but would love to answer any questions you have about hormone or gut health. Feel free to drop them in the chat. Today on my page, we've been talking a lot about Hashimoto thyroiditis, other autoimmune conditions, things like IBS. Oh, yay. Okay, so somebody just asked, my testosterone was low on your blood test, how to fix it. Okay, so here's the thing I want to share with you all, especially with testosterone. You have to think about what comes before testosterone. So when it comes to sex hormones, there's actually a chain of precursors, meaning before you even get to testosterone, there's another hormone before that that has to be created in enough abundance for your body to shuttle down and make testosterone. So when it comes to a woman in particular, somebody with female physiology, right, because that's sex and not gendered, and there could be people with different genders who have more female sex. So anyone who's a female who has low testosterone, we actually, when we look upstream, we see a hormone called DHEA. DHEA is actually made by your adrenal glands. So adrenal glands are these teeny little glands. They're very picky in particular, and they sit on top of your kidneys. They can be one of the reasons, by the way, that we sometimes get low back pain. Sometimes low back pain is not necessarily just muscular, but those adrenal glands are responsible for making the vast majority of our stress-related hormones. So hormones that help us do fight, flight, freeze, faint, all that good stuff, right? So the ones you might know of are like adrenaline, cortisol, right? So when it comes to testosterone, we look at that precursor, DHEA, is made in the adrenal glands. So if a woman is having trouble making testosterone, we actually look to what's happening in the adrenal glands. So some things that can impact your adrenal glands and frankly impact any kind of hormone imbalance, y'all. So even if you don't have low testosterone, if you suspect you have a hormone imbalance, which by the way, if you're a woman and you have any, really almost any kind of symptom, your hormones are probably implicated. But things like moodiness, stubborn weight gain or weight loss intolerance, low energy, brain fog, brittle hair, brittle nails, dysregulations with your period, painful periods, long periods, periods that are too close together, right? So there are so many things that point to hormone issues. But if you're having any kind of hormone issue, we want to think about what's going on with your blood sugar balance. And that's really important for y'all if you have low testosterone. What's going on with blood sugar balance and what's going on specifically then with insulin. Are you eating enough food? Are you eating the right balance of foods? Is your body getting the nourishment it needs? And then also, how's your body responding to stress? Are you chronically stressed? Are you addressing that? Are you building some more resilience within the way you tolerate and handle stress? So I teach all kinds of strategies that can help with this in my course, The Balanced Hormone Blueprint. You could grab a spot on the VIP list right now is the early bird sale and also an upgrade to add lab work. So you can feel free to grab a spot there at bit.ly/helpwithhormones or just hang out here and take in all the good free info that I share with y'all. So hopefully that helps about low testosterone. Okay, I'm seeing some other questions. Thanks, y'all, for dropping your questions about hormone health and gut health. I'm Marissa Faye. I'm a hormone and gut health expert for women. I help women reverse and reduce their symptoms with natural methods. They really do work. If somebody tells you, like a doctor, doesn't believe that it can happen, believe it does. Otherwise, I would not have a job, okay? And I also wouldn't have the transformation I've had with my own health or helped the 133 women now in my practice that have helped do that. Okay, so I'm seeing some questions, and feel free to drop a question related to hormone health or gut health in the comments. Liz shared, waiting for some results, but what about those of us who no longer have a thyroid? Yeah, great question, Liz. Okay, so some women, right? Some people go through a process where their thyroids move, either related to nodules or cancer. So for you, if you don't have a thyroid, it's going to be really important to optimize your thyroid hormone. Now, if I were you, I would make sure I'm talking to my doctor not just about T4 medication, but also T3 medication. So here's the reason. Your thyroid mainly pushes out T4 and a little bit of T3. T4 is a pretty inactive form of thyroid hormone. It has to go to other places in your body to be converted into active thyroid hormone, T3, okay? So in order for that to happen, it has to go to one of the sites where that's converted. That's going to be namely your gut, your liver, and then finally we say peripheral tissue, but not the majority to peripheral tissue. So if your gut health is not in line, if your liver health is not in line, which by the way, it's unlikely that it is unless you've done some deeper healing with someone like me or guided by someone like me, then you're going to want to pay attention to that and be working on that. But that's why I say, especially with thyroid removal, you really want to possibly talk to your doctor about just directly getting that T3 medication, because it's probably going to be hard for your body to convert. But also you do want to be supporting your body to do that. So supporting your gut health, your liver health, blood sugar balance is going to be really important in that situation as well as reducing exposure to toxins. So you really want to be mindful and careful then with all the other glands that are in your endocrine system or your hormone system now that your thyroid's removed, because some of those glands are going to be picking up some of the burden and taking some of the brunt of it, especially the adrenal glands. Yeah. So hopefully that's helpful, Liz. Let me know if you have a follow-up question. All right. I love taking your questions, y'all. Hi, I'm Marissa Faye. I'm a hormone and gut health expert. I help women reduce and reverse their symptoms with natural methods. It's come into question a little bit now that a lot of people are following me on here, like what my credentials are. So I'll just say it out loud. I have a lot of fucking credentials, y'all. Like, I'm not just some rando person who's like, oh, spirit told me this is how you heal. No, no, no. I've studied a lot for many, many years. And I also personally have been through a lot of healing. I'm board certified in holistic nutrition. I'm certified as a functional nutritional therapy practitioner. I have a master's in public health. I also am certified in running and reading functional lab tests. So that's just a couple of things. I'm a certified yoga teacher, meditation teacher, hypnotherapist. So the list goes on and on. So I know some things about some things, right? But there's always things to learn about. So feel free to drop a question related to hormone health or gut health that you would love to know an answer to in the comments, and I will answer them here. By the way, this is an educational space. So I just will say this out loud. Sometimes people get upset that I respond to their comments in another video on my page. And please note, this is an educational space. So anything that you share, I am assuming because you are sharing it in a public place, that you are okay with that being highlighted publicly. So that's how we use this space, and that's how we use this live. So I am seeing some people saying I definitely have a hormone imbalance. Yeah, if you think you do, you probably do. And you can hang out here for support, but also my course, The Balanced Hormone Blueprint, would be a great next stop. But if you have something more advanced, working with me one-on-one can be really a great place to be. And if you want to book a discovery call, they're 20 minutes long, you can at bit.ly/ready4health. Okay, so all right, I'm looking at your questions, y'all. Love them. Thank you so much. So Liz, you shared metformin was prescribed to several of your aunts. Metformin, let's talk about it. So there's actually an herbal support that performs just as well as metformin, if not better. So if you or someone you love is in the midst of maybe using metformin or considering metformin, I can't give you medical advice, but I would strongly consider you to look into trying this support called berberine. It does not work for everyone. There's a particular genetic mutation where for some people it can make them a little bit anxious, but if you're that person, you would know relatively soon with trying it. But it's a fantastic alternative for a lot of people to metformin, and it doesn't have a lot of the nutrient depletion issues that metformin has. Metformin also, you have to over time increase the dose. Your body builds up tolerance to it. So there are alternatives, right? But it's also going to be important if you're somebody who needs metformin or is considering metformin for you to change some of your habits, change your diet. And guess what? Actually, with blood sugar stuff, the recommendation I give is not to remove all carbohydrates. It's about using carbohydrates smartly. So that's some thoughts on metformin. All right. I am seeing some people say, I think you're insulin resistant and stress is high. So insulin resistance is way more common than we realize. A lot of people think it's just something that people who are diagnosed with diabetes have an issue with, or are about to be diagnosed with diabetes have an issue with. And no, it's so much more common. And I see it oftentimes, by the way, travel with women who have thyroid issues, really common to travel with that, and travel with women who have fertility issues. And then travel also with women with things like endometriosis, and of course, polycystic ovarian syndrome. So part of insulin resistance and what makes it happen, this is a really important and intricate thing to understand. And I find a lot of people don't know this because your doctor doesn't explain it to you, which is so messed up. So I will explain it to you. So here's the thing. Your body has to put out insulin from your pancreas in order for quick energy, or glucose, which gets put out either by your liver or made by your liver, by the way. So your body has to put out insulin. It's like a key that opens the door of the cell and allows the glucose to come inside. Over time, your body, if you're not taking care of your blood sugar balance, if you're not eating enough, if you're eating too much carbohydrates in proportion to other things, usually, by the way, it's crummy carbohydrates. Thank you for the hearts, y'all. I love that engagement. It is really helpful for me because I talk into a vacuum all day on here. And so I just love getting that feedback and engagement from you. So we're talking about insulin and insulin resistance. So insulin is the key that unlocks the cell to allow energy or glucose to come into the cell. This is, by the way, the key thing I want you to understand, and the reason why diets that remove all carbohydrates are actually typically not beneficial in the long run for women who are dealing with insulin issues, because glucose is so important for your body that your liver will go through a process that's very resource intensive where it breaks down your own tissues and your muscle, which, hello, what woman wants to break down her own muscle, the thing that is going to burn the most calories for her? Like, I don't want to do that. You should not want to do that. But your liver will make glucose if you don't give it to your liver. We want to give it to your liver. That creates a lower stress situation. We just want to do that smartly. But anyways, insulin resistance happens when your body has been pushing out a lot of insulin, trying to get glucose into the cell, and the cells are kind of ignoring insulin. And that ignoring situation happens when the wrong proportion of carbohydrates, when unhealthy carbohydrates, when overexposure to toxins, when lots of hormone dysregulation is happening, lots of stress in the body happens. And so that's why it's incredibly common. Women who have hormone imbalances tend to also have insulin issues going on. Hi y'all, I'm Marissa Faye. I'm so glad you're here. I'm a hormone and gut health expert for women. I help women reverse and reduce their symptoms with natural methods. I am answering your questions about hormone and gut health issues, and I would love to just learn your name and where you're from, and feel free to drop a question in. This is an educational space, so we're all learning here together. So let's get into it. How do you get... So somebody, Heaven Culture, you said, how do you get your PTH down? Can you tell me what PTH is? Because that could be an abbreviation for a lot of things. So will you jump in and let me know what that is? I'll be happy to answer once you let me know. I'm exhausted. I don't know where that came from. I am not New York. My mom has some of that in her family though, and will use a funny voice like that, but that is not me. Okay, so I'm exhausted all the time. I've gained weight in the tummy area. Is it hormone related? Yeah, so absolutely. So exhaustion and brain fog can track to a couple of different hormone imbalances. I would be curious about things related to your thyroid, related to female sex hormones, estrogen imbalance in particular, and then also cortisol. A lot of times people talk about cortisol as the hormone that triggers like maintaining and gaining weight in your belly. I think that's a way oversimplification. I also think insulin regulation is a big one too when things like that are going on. So I share all about this in my course, The Balanced Hormone Blueprint. The first module has like, what are all the signs of different hormone imbalances so you can understand what might be happening in your body. So that could be a great resource for you. I'm also doing a free 3-day video training right now for anybody on the VIP list for the course. So you can get on that list at bit.ly/help-with-hormones. So that could be a great resource for you all for some follow-up too, if you're curious about what type of hormonal imbalance you have. Hey there, everyone joining. I'm Marissa Faye. I'm a hormone and gut health expert. I'm answering questions all about hormones and gut health. Okay, so I'm seeing, can I fix my hormone imbalance with beef liver? So beef liver is fantastic, but no, I don't think you can fix entirely a hormone imbalance with something like beef liver. By the way, beef liver is like nature's multivitamin, y'all. Beef liver and actually oysters. Nature's multivitamin. Really fantastic for a lot of things, very supportive for a lot of things. I often recommend it. It is one of the supplements I recommend for most people in the Balanced Hormone Blueprint. The only caveat would be if you had something like hemochromatosis, that may not be a fit for you. That's an iron issue and you would know if you had it. But yeah, beef liver is very supportive. But before that is always too, like what's going on in your diet? Are you eating nutrient dense foods? Are you eating high quality animal proteins? Are you eating gluten-free starchy carbohydrates? Are you eating fruits and vegetables? Are you reducing your stress? Are you taking time to sit down and digest your food? These are all important things. Are you regulating your sleep and your wake and your exposure to sunshine? So all those are important things in addition to any kind of supplement, even a food-based supplement like beef liver, but that can be really helpful for a lot of people. Okay. Liz shared that you were put on levothyroxine, but you noticed sugar spikes and your weight kind of coming in big time and that you're not into sweets. So we're talking about thyroid health here, everybody. So yeah, I will tell you anecdotally and me personally, I was diagnosed with a thyroid condition 13 years. I have done a lot of healing and reversed a lot of my symptoms. I still use a very little bit of thyroid medication, but I use a natural desiccated thyroid, which is providing my body with T3 and T4. I'm a big fan of that. All of my clients who have come to me only using levothyroxine typically feel like shit. I've not met a lot of people who feel great with just levothyroxine, although it's possible, you know what I mean? Anything's possible. But if you haven't made lifestyle changes and you were diagnosed with a thyroid issue, it's going to be really important that you work on that. And sometimes you can reduce or even sometimes get off thyroid medication, although not medical advice, just sharing for educational purposes. Okay, I'm Marissa Fay. I'm a hormone and gut health nutritionist. I'm answering your questions about women's hormone and gut health, and I am loving your comments and questions. I'm loving your hearts, your flowers, all of that. I speak into the void. I literally spend hours on here every day trying to answer all of your questions. I have answered every single comment on this place, by the way. There are 20,000 people who follow me. I've answered every single comment. I don't know how long I'll keep up with that or be able to, but I really do value you and want to be here to support you. Yeah, thanks for the heart. Okay, answering your hormone and gut health questions. I have nodules. My doc just pulled blood today, TSH, T3, and T4, and you'll have the results soon. Yeah, good. So just so you all know, a comprehensive thyroid panel is what I look for anytime I have a client who comes to me with a thyroid issue or a suspected thyroid issue. So you definitely want to see TSH, T3, T4, free T3, free T4, TPO, and TGB antibodies, and reverse T3. That is a comprehensive thyroid panel, okay? I actually have an upgrade offered for the Balanced Hormone Blueprint where you can add that and a visit with me. It's incredibly affordable compared to other things that I see out there. So you can feel free to grab one of those spots at bit.ly/helpwithhormones. But yeah, full thyroid panel is really important, but also really keep in mind what's going on with your gut. That's going to be critical. And then you also might want to look at things like insulin and fasting glucose, okay? Okay, I'm Marissa Fay. I'm answering your hormone and gut health questions. I'm a hormone and gut health functional nutritionist. I'm so glad you're here. I appreciate any hearts, comments, questions. It's really encouraging and helpful. Okay, I'm saying, hey, how do I feel about metformin used for PCOS or insulin resistance? Hey there. So I can't give you medical advice, so I have to be careful about how I word this. And any choice you make to try other things is your choice. Wink. Okay. I'm not a fan of metformin. I think there's a lot of drawbacks, and I think there are herbs that perform just as well, if not better, and have none of the drawbacks of depleting you of nutrients. So metformin, we know, depletes magnesium, B vitamins, chromium. There are problems that people sometimes have after they've been on it for a while, and you typically have to keep increasing your dosage, okay? So you should know that, and oftentimes doctors don't tell you that. It's really frustrating, I know. So if you are taking metformin, I would strongly consider nourishment and possibly supplements to help support that too, what your body's being depleted. By the way, this is true too of hormonal birth control. It depletes you of magnesium, B vitamins, I think even the same things, chromium, zinc. So anytime you're going to take a medication, you want to be thinking about and learning what's that going to deplete my body, and how can I pick up some of that weight and really focus in my diet on that? And also, do I need supplements? Because you might. I'm a big fan of berberine as a natural alternative to something like metformin. And with PCOS insulin resistance, I just really strongly encourage you to explore my 5-step method. Even if you don't take my course, I'm going to tell you the 5 steps right now. These are critical for anything like PCOS PCOS or endometriosis or Hashimoto's, any of this stuff, okay? Fibroids, all of that. The first step has to be that you're removing and reducing toxin exposure. You have to slow down how toxins are coming into your body. That's going to be everything from like cleaning supplies in your home to your makeup and your hair stuff. Like, years ago, I switched from dyeing my hair with chemical dye to using henna. I'm not saying you have to necessarily go 0 to 100, but I would start working your way that way, okay? Really important. The next piece is changing your diet, right? And it's not depriving yourself. Actually, it's about balance on what's on your plate and high quality, nutrient dense foods. So really high quality animal protein and animal products. Cooked veggies are often a great place for a lot of people to start, not necessarily a lot of raw veggies. Fruits are great, gluten-free carbohydrates are great, and then healthy fats. Those are going to be fats from a fruit source or an animal source, okay? So avocado, olive, coconut, right, are going to be mostly those fruit sources. Things like butter and ghee too. So that's really key. So that's the second step. Third step is make sure your detox pathways are open and being used every single day. This is really important. Anybody who has some kind of health issue where your body's forming lumps and bumps, your detox pathways are not being maximized. So that means that you're able to sweat, you're having a healthy bowel movement, 1 to 3 of them every single day. You're hydrating with properly filtered water. I've done a bunch of posts about that recently, about what that really means, but you're hydrating with the appropriate amount. You're adding minerals to your water so your body can absorb it. You're able to sweat and you're able to really take deep breaths. Okay. So those are some things to make sure of. The next layer then is to make sure that you're changing your relationship to stress, building stress resilience. So I combine things like actually hypnotherapy and meditation into my course and my work with clients, because we really do have to change how your brain relates to stress, how your body responds to it. It's unrealistic to remove absolutely all stress from your life. It's a part of life, right? So we have to learn to coexist with it and have a different response. It's very Viktor Frankl of me. Do you all know who Viktor Frankl is? I'll go off on a tangent. If you don't, feel free to drop a question. And then the final step is supplements, right? So what supplements can be added supplementally, right? Though, as the word implies, supplementally in addition to these other things, because there still is a need for those nutrients. So that is really where I would start, with something like PCOS and insulin resistance. Okay, cool. I'm seeing people saying, oh, I just asked this. Yep. So berberine, yeah, it's BERBERINE. And anybody who takes one of my courses or is a client with me gets a discount on all practitioner grade supplements. Here's a PSA. Stop buying your supplements on Amazon. There's a big counterfeit issue there. And please don't buy like name brand Target, Walmart, your grocery store type supplements. Those are tested and often they don't even contain what they say they contain. And if they do, there's a lot of additives that are just harmful and not really great for you to have in the mix. So practitioner grade is really important, okay? All right. Hi, y'all. I'm Marissa Fay. I'm a hormone and gut health expert, functional nutritionist. I am sharing a bit more about hormone and gut health. We're talking about things like thyroid health, insulin resistance, polycystic ovarian syndrome, fertility. We're talking about things like blood sugar balance. Feel free to drop a question that you have in the comments. I love to answer your questions. This is an educational space and I love sharing with you all. Also, I really appreciate anything like hearts or flowers or whatever other kind of shit you can send me on here to encourage me to keep sharing, because I spend a lot of time just talking into the void, and it's just really nice to have your engagement and know that I'm helping you, or at least sharing something new with you. Okay, so somebody asked, when testing for hormones, is there a certain time of month to do it? Great question. So this depends what hormones we're testing. So if you're looking at female sex hormones and you are a cycling woman, please, for the love of everything holy, all you can assume from one single measure of those hormones in your cycle is what is happening on that one single day. So I know it's a standard where a lot of doctors will just test like day 21 in a woman's cycle. I work with a lot of fertility clients. I'm responsible for making babies naturally, which I'm very proud of. I'm also responsible for helping women who are going through things like fertility treatments really optimize how their body is functioning, because that's equally as important, y'all. So here's the thing. We have to do a test where we can see those hormones throughout the duration of your cycle, because there are a lot of things that can go wrong that we're not going to see on day 21 with a blood test. So I much prefer a saliva test or a urine test like the Dutch test, and I prefer to do it throughout your cycle. So that means you collect usually 10 to 14 samples throughout your cycle, and we actually can map. We get really cool graphs. I actually make graphs. Maybe I'll show you all sometime. I make graphs of like what those results are, and we can really make sure like, oh, all these hormones are working appropriately, because just even other than estrogen and progesterone, we also want want to see what's testosterone doing, what's DHEA doing, what's luteinizing hormone doing, follicular stimulating hormone. So that can tell us a little bit about brain signaling, what's going on with brain signaling, which, by the way, if you have thyroid issues, also, that's all TSH is doing, by the way. TSH is just telling us about thyroid brain conversation. It actually isn't telling us much about the thyroid itself, just so you know. So if you're somebody who has really high TSH or really low TSH that's not suppressed by prescription medication, for example, you really need to be curious about what's going on in the brain signaling. That is important. I see that all the time. So things like that, you want to be doing a cycle test. If you're a woman through menopause or you've had a hysterectomy, so you are no longer cycling, then you can do a single point in time. If you're testing something like thyroid hormone, you can do a single point in time. So there's a little bit of variation. Insulin, something like insulin, we'd want to see fasting. So we'd want to see when you wake up in the morning. And to some extent, that will change with your cycle, by the way. But I don't know if the variation is important enough that I would stress too much about when that type of reading happens. Although I might not do it on my period for insulin. So those are some thoughts related to when you might test or collect samples for hormone testing. So, hey y'all, I'm Marissa Fay, hormone and gut health expert. I'm a functional nutritionist. I'm answering your questions about hormone and gut health, and feel free to drop a question in the comments. Okay, so maybe this change in water will help. So I think I'm seeing people, I've posted recently a lot about water and properly filtered water. Brita's and Pure, PUR, they're doing nothing for you, almost nothing. High quality water is really important for almost everything related to your health. I've done a post recently about this, so you can scroll back and take a peek at what I shared there. Okay, I feel overwhelmed trying to figure out where to start. I know, Shay, I know. So I feel you on this. 13 years ago when I was diagnosed with a thyroid issue, I was like, well, okay, what now, right? I was sent away with a prescription medication, and I was like, there's got to be more to this, right? I was not super holistic minded then, but I was holistic minded enough to be like, there's got to be more, And I went down a lot of rabbit holes and made a lot of mistakes so that, frankly, you don't have to. And I also have spent a lot of years working on my own healing and studying a bunch and working in my practice and business with now over 133 women to help them heal and feel a heck of a lot better. So honestly, I'm going to tell you straight. If you can afford it, my hormone course is the best place to start. It's the Balanced Hormone Blueprint. It is on early bird special right now. You can jump on the VIP list and you'll also get a free 3-day video training all about common hormone imbalances at bit.ly/help with hormones, plural hormones. And my intention with the course is really, it's the information you really need to know and none of the bullshit you don't need to know, because it really can be so overwhelming. And it is a fantastic place to start. It teaches my 5-step method that I went over a little bit earlier, all the ins and outs of that. It's what you really need to know and do to build a foundation of health. Yeah. Hi, Dawn from NYC. Hey, y'all. I'm Marissa Fay. I'm a hormone and gut health expert. I'm answering your questions about hormone and gut health stuff. Oh, okay. So parathyroid gland. Yeah. Okay. Got it. I'm trying to remember, Heaven Culture, what your question is about PTH. Hang on. Do y'all know what the parathyroid gland is? It is not your thyroid. So anytime we're talking about a gland, I really want to be thinking about, and I want to encourage you to be thinking about that signaling in the brain. Okay. So pituitary to hypothalamus to the gland, right? So is there some kind of communication breakdown going on there? It is very common anytime there is a gland issue that part of the issue has to do with the brain. And I see this a lot, especially in women who have been exposed to a lot of stress, chronic stress, or have had trauma in their past. This can really impact it. We can also see mineral imbalances impact this, heavy metal exposure. So I would explore some of those things and dive in a little bit there. Okay, extreme brain fog and hypothyroidism. Yeah, they travel together. So here's the fun fact. Hypothyroidism, by y'all, low thyroid often also means low progesterone. Progesterone is a really important hormone for like feeling good, feeling at ease. It is the hormone that's the star of the show for the second half of a woman's cycle. And here's the thing. The only way progesterone gets produced and released at the amount you really need it is if you ovulate. I notice a lot of women with thyroid issues are not ovulating appropriately or having a strong enough ovulation. So I would really be interested in that. And I also, if I had brain fog and hypothyroidism, which I've had before, I would be really digging into that insulin resistance piece. So I have all the foundations of that in the Balanced Hormone Blueprint, but also you can hang out here. We'll keep talking about insulin stuff, Where to start for gut health. Hey, Shay. That's an excellent question. So I spend a lot of time in my practice customizing gut healing protocols. I do all kinds of wacky fun things like running stool tests, which is really cool. By the way, I can also tell from blood work if you're likely to have some kind of things like bacterial imbalance, viral overload in your gut, inflammation in your gut, parasites in your gut. So there are things that give us clues that that is probably going on. And so starting with gut health, honestly, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but there's a reason I made this course the way I did. That 5-step method is like the foundation that I often use and build off of with my one-to-one clients. So if you work with me one-to-one, there's going to be a lot more customization and there are extra things that we might do. But what I've put in the course is like, that's the bare bones roadmap, and it will be very helpful to prepare you for healing your gut. Here's a spoiler alert. A lot of people will have you dive into intensive gut healing without preparing your body. Please, in the name of all things holy, if you believe in holy things, I'm not sure I do, but anyways, make sure you prepare your body for gut healing. You don't just want to dive into intensive gut healing. And when I say that, I mean like parasite rebalancing protocols, bacteria rebalancing protocols, mold protocols, heavy metal protocols, all those kinds of things. You have to prepare your body first. You have to open those detox pathways, make sure they're working. You have to balance your blood sugar. You have to remove exposure to a lot of toxins, right? You have to do a lot of these things. You have to change that relationship to stress, or else you are likely to have a very, rocky road and possibly results that are not going to stick. Yeah. Okay. So from my water video and feel the change in water can help a lot. Yeah. My water video, please watch that. Changing your water source is a huge, ginormous thing, especially if you have thyroid stuff. You need to get fluoride out of your life. So including toothpaste. I'm a big fan of hydroxyapatite as the active ingredient in toothpaste. I really love Boca. Boka. I have no affiliation, by the way. They have a coconut ginger one. Also, when you brush your teeth, you're not meant to rinse your mouth after when you use something like that. They also have a regular mint one, but I really love that one. And so anyways, if you have thyroid stuff, getting fluoride out of your water with a really good filter is important, but also even out of like toothpaste or any other kind of personal care products, really important. Okay, hi y'all, I'm Marissa Fay. I'm a hormone and gut health nutritionist and expert. I'm answering your questions about hormone and gut health stuff. I'm gonna try to get through as much as I can. I still have to do some notes and protocols from today because I build custom protocols for all of my one-on-one clients. So we'll see how long we hang out here, maybe another 15, 20 minutes. So I will try to get to as many of these as I can. And I love your hearts and flowers and all of that stuff. It's really helpful and encouraging for me to see that and know that you're engaging and feel like you're benefiting. Okay, diet best for someone that has hypothyroidism and a hysterectomy and no gallbladder. Okay, so this is actually going to be a very similar diet. So if you have hypothyroidism, this diet would apply to you probably. If you have even hyperthyroidism, mostly this diet would probably support you. If you have any kind of hormone imbalance, this diet would probably support you. And then there'll be some tweaks without the gallbladder, FYI. But the foundation of a diet that's going to be best for most of these people and most of these women is going to be a diet that incorporates about 30% of your diet is high quality animal proteins. If you're someone without a gallbladder, or you have goals to see if your body can release some weight, right? Like we celebrate bodies here. I am a curvy girl, right? But years ago I had an extra 50 pounds on me that I'm very glad is no longer with me. So if your goals are to explore if your body might release some weight, then stick towards maybe some leaner protein sources, but not too lean, y'all. You need fat, okay? But just a little bit leaner, right? Like, is it 85? Is it 80% ground beef, or is it 90? You know what I mean? Like a compromise like that. So about 30% of your diet is high quality animal protein. 30% are starchy, gluten-free carbohydrates. Gluten-free. I will say it 10 times until I'm asleep. Okay, so I said this in the last live I did, how important going gluten-free is. It is one of the things food-wise that I'm most dogmatic about because of how inflammatory gluten is, especially in our country, how we raise that crop and process that crop. I highly recommend you get it out of your life, entirely, out of your life, okay? And then the other 30%, the other 40% produce, right? So veggies, fruits, especially with veggies, make sure they're more cooked, especially if you don't have a gallbladder or you have some digestive distress, more cooked. Even things like soups and stews would be lovely and supportive for you. And then make sure you're eating within an hour of waking up, and make sure you're eating about every 3 to 4 hours. So that is kind of the foundation of a dietary approach that's pretty sound for a lot of those kinds of issues like thyroid issues, hormone issues, and no gallbladder. Also for gallbladder stuff, I have an on-demand gallbladder class and PDF download you can get right now at bit.ly/gallbladder class. I highly, highly recommend it. It also includes a 2 to 3 page supplement guide, because if you don't have your gallbladder, you probably need to be supporting your body at every meal with what it's not getting in abundance. Okay, hey y'all, I'm Marissa Fay. I'm a hormone and gut health nutritionist. I am answering your questions about hormone and gut health, and I really appreciate the hearts and encouragement, and I will answer as many questions as I can in the time I am on. Okay, yeah, you're so welcome. Okay, so MS, here's the thing. MS is an autoimmune condition, right? MS, from a functional medicine standpoint, we're going to be looking to environmental toxin exposure. Things like mold. Did you grow up with mold? Like, that's a good question. Like, I'll have clients a lot of time who grew up like in Florida, and they're like, oh my God, my whole house was mold, right? So that can be an origin story for that. Exposure to things like red algae. If anybody lives on a coast, if you as a kid swam in algae a lot, that is also another one. It's going to be really important to make sure your detox pathways are open. It's going to be really important to make sure that you rebalance your gut. Also, there's particular bacterial strains that tend to also travel with MS. We don't know that they're the cause, but we see a relationship. And so a lot of times when I run a stool test on a client who's concerned about MS or who has MS, I see a higher prevalence of a particular bacterial strain. And so then we're looking at how can we thin mucus. NAC, or N-acetylcysteine, is a fantastic support for helping to thin mucus. Not saying that for medical advice, but it might be something to explore as well. But MS or any autoimmune condition, we need to work on the gut. You need to work on your leaky gut. 80 to 90% of autoimmune conditions are likely caused, if not incredibly contributed to, by leaky gut. It is a very real thing. Sometimes doctors say they don't believe it, but fuck that. That's just them feeling threatened because they weren't taught about it and they don't know what to say to you. And that's okay. A lot of us have that. We have ego, right? We all do. But it's important to know when not to listen. Yeah. Okay. I'm Marissa Fay. I'm a hormone and gut health expert. I'm answering your questions about women's hormone and gut health. Okay, so Tamara, I'm seeing my doctor said he believes I have Hashimoto's. Yeah, so I'm hoping that your doctor has run TPO and TGB antibodies and has looked at that to give you a diagnosis. And next steps would be truly the Balanced Hormone Blueprint. It would be the best place for you, or I'm happy to support you one-on-one, or hang out here and just take in more free info. You can grab a VIP spot, by the way, for the Balanced Hormone Blueprint with optional lab upgrade and visit with me at bit.ly/helpwithhormones. Okay, pure love and positivity. Love that handle. Okay, just beginning menopause, best supplements to help. So you're in perimenopause, it sounds like. So here's the thing. This is a common mistake, and I talked a bunch about this on my podcast. You can listen to my podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, almost anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's called Into the Yes. I record it with my friend who is an energy healer and fantastic movement specialist, Jen Nickel. And we did a 2-part episode all about perimenopause. So the thing people get wrong with perimenopause is, especially at the beginning, which, by the way, perimenopause is basically up to a 10-year transition from your cycling years to non-cycling years. This can take a very long time, and I feel like culturally we talk about it like it's a moment in time, it's a year in time. Hell no. It is a process, right? Bodies are smart and intelligent. It's gradual for a reason. It should be gradual. So here's the thing. Most women, as they're entering perimenopause in the first phase of it, they actually have an estrogen dominance issue. So bringing on board things that boost estrogen at that point is not the way to go typically. You actually want to be working on your detox pathways. You want to be working on actually progesterone supportive habits, because estrogen needs to be challenged by progesterone. They work in proportion to each other, y'all. So there's a way to have purely high estrogen and normal progesterone, or what's most common I find is low progesterone and normal or high estrogen. So when you're entering menopause, and even like in the first part of perimenopause and middle of perimenopause, what's happening, it might be that both of those hormones are kind of coming down, but estrogen is still proportionally so much higher that you're going to get a lot of those classic menopause type symptoms. Hello from Arizona. I partially grew up in Tucson. Love it out there. I'm a desert gal. Okay, hey y'all, I'm Marissa. I'm a hormone and gut health nutritionist. I'm answering your questions all about hormone and gut health stuff for women. Okay, so hi, do I have a recommendation on water filter for the faucet? So for a faucet, like if you want to do like an under sink mount, I would look into AquaTrue, their reverse osmosis. I want to give you all a big caution though. An under sink mount, you need to be really mindful of mold. They can really harbor mold. So you need to be on top of cleaning it, replacing the filters when it's time, all of that. And I would talk to the company and ask them what they recommend to make sure that mold doesn't grow there. That's going to be really important. Okay. What about Mary Ruth? Bree, I think you're asking about, is it the supplement company, Mary Ruth? I'm not super familiar with it, so I can't really weigh in on it. But also any supplement company like that, you should be able to ask for like, hey, do you have a report showing like that this has been reviewed for purity and to verify that like what you say in it is in it? That would be a good thing to ask them for. How can we work together? Hey, Kim. So we can work together a couple of ways. Kim, you shared that you're in North Carolina, you have Hashimoto's thyroid cancer, and you've had a total thyroidectomy and PCOS stuff going on. So first of all, I just want you to know you are not alone, and I wish that you were. I wish your experience were so unique, and unfortunately, many of those things travel together, and I'm really, really sorry that you are in a space where you are dealing with that. Since you're having a lot of kind of more advanced things going on, I'd recommend that we work together one-on-one. You can set up a discovery call with me at bit.ly/ready4health. The link is also in my bio, but that's a chance for us to jump on the phone and just make sure we're a good fit to work together. I want you to make sure I am right for you just as much as I want to make sure that you're right for me. And if I'm ever not the good fit, y'all, I will refer you. I have no shame in that, okay? But yeah, I would love to support you one-on-one. I work with clients virtually throughout the United States and Canada and even sometimes in Europe. So we work together through the magic of Zoom and computers. And so it's amazing because I can reach people all over, women all over, and help people all over. Okay, I'm seeing somebody who I'm guessing it identifies as a man. So hi, welcome. Is it just for women, the info that I shared, or how will this benefit my, how will it benefit my husband? You can absolutely include your husband. Okay, let me tell you, here's the secret. While some things are a little bit more tweaked and customized to women, all of these things are still important for men. It's just men, typically it's a little harder for them to prioritize some of these things, but I absolutely have clients where like they bring their husband into the fold, their partner into the fold, all that good stuff. You know, if you took the Balanced Hormone Blueprint, like I would hope you would share all of that with him and with, if you have kids, like please, let's spread this healing movement. You know what I mean? So toxin exposure, that's important for everyone. Improving your diet, that's important to everyone. You know, balancing your food for insulin and blood sugar balance, that's important for everyone. You know what I mean? The only thing that wouldn't be customized to him in something like the course would be the sections that are specific about types of hormone imbalances and supports that are specific to types of hormone imbalances. So I have food-based supports and supplement-based supports that will be specific to different kinds of imbalances, so that may not be applicable there, but there's a lot that is applicable. And if you wanted to get on the VIP list to get early bird pricing on my course, you can go to bit.ly/help with hormones. I'm doing a free 3-day training on there right now, all about common hormone imbalances. So check it out. Okay, what if you are in menopause and don't have cycles anymore? What about that? So Countryside 72. I'm not sure what exactly the question is there, but I will say if you are in menopause and you don't have cycles anymore, all this foundational stuff, that 5-step method is still key for you. The only tweak would be when you get to the supplement phase of adding things in, that there's a case for true kind of supplemental hormone support. I personally am not a fan of like HRT. I much prefer things like topical progesterone, but everybody's a little bit different. And I do have some clients in menopause who benefit from a little bit of estrogen along with progesterone. We never, never, never recommend supplementing just estrogen. Estrogen always needs to be challenged. And please, for the love of all things, if you all are working with a hormone doctor, please be very careful about them prescribing you DHEA, and testosterone. I have seen a number of clients where they're overprescribed things like that, and we can see the stress and burden on their system, and it is not good. Okay, I think it's Fit Tech Girl. You have PCOS, hypothyroidism, and you're almost in menopause. Your CRP is high. You removed inflammatory foods, and you're asking what supplement. Okay, so there's not a supplement. We got to get on the same page, and this isn't just you. Y'all, thinking that there's just one supplement, that's thinking like Western medicine. That's thinking there's a pill for every ill. It's more complicated than that. If it worked that way, I wouldn't have a job. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do what I do because it wouldn't be so hard for people to make these changes. You really need to work on the foundation first and then bring supplements into the mix. High CRP also, you need to be thinking about B vitamins. If you're somebody who doesn't eat a lot of animal proteins, I would highly recommend you consider including grass-fed red meats. Maybe a grass-fed desiccated liver support could be helpful for you, but also please make sure you're working on the foundations. Reduce your exposure to toxins, improve your detoxification systems, use your detox pathways every day, make sure you're balancing your food and your plate appropriately, make sure you're changing your relationship to stress, and then supplement smartly. And that's the foundation of what I teach in my course, The Balanced Hormone Blueprint, if you want support on how to do that, or you can always work with me one-on-one, but there's a lot more to it. And you also may benefit from more intensive gut healing. And so that's when working with me one-on-one can be really helpful. We can do things like run a stool test, see exactly what's going on in your gut, and create a custom plan for you and your body. Okay, just wanted to ask, you heard I mentioned water bottles are not a good idea. What do you do? Okay, so I posted a video today all about how plastic water bottles are really dangerous. So plastic water bottles, and by the way, even something labeled BPA free, that's a marketing ploy. There are other more harmful, like BPFs. There are other harmful types of plastic chemicals. That's all marketing, okay? But basically plastic, especially when a liquid is in it, it's going to leach the plastic chemicals into the liquid. And if you drink it, you are going to intake those plastic chemicals. A really, really common exposure for women, and this does upregulate estrogen because plastic is abundant with something called xenoestrogens or endocrine disruptors, and these are estrogenic-like chemicals that can hop into the receptor of estrogen in your body and block natural estrogen, and your body then has more estrogen because it's dealing with those chemicals. They're bad, bad news. So I have a lot of times women who I talk to, or even men, people I talk to, who are drinking a lot of bottled water, and that is so dangerous. Please stop. The thing to do is going to be, first of all, the kind of quick swap is to shift to glass. If that's something available to you. The next swap is make sure you're using a high quality filter. I have a post all about that I posted earlier today or yesterday, all about home filters. You also could do something like a water delivery, like a spring water delivery. Look in your area, ask them for a report of what's in the water before you buy from them. And then you want glass and stainless steel containers to filter or to carry your water with you places, okay? But that makes a difference. And you know what? Go slow. If you feel overwhelmed by that, go slow. You don't have to make every change right away. The point is like you're taking steps towards it and you have a plan for making those changes over time and hopefully more in the near future than like years from now, right? Hey y'all, I'm Marissa Faye. I'm a hormone and gut health expert. I'm answering your questions about women's hormone and gut health. Jessica asked, what's the best probiotic I'd recommend? You're 38 years old and your hormones have been out of whack for 3 years. Okay, y'all, you've been sold a bunch of bullshit about probiotics. We gotta, let's get in real close, okay? So probiotics you have to be really careful with. A lot of the over-the-counter ones at the grocery store are not high quality. And also, I have had a lot of clients and students come to me where they've been taking the same probiotic for years. And I run a stool test on them, and do you know what I see? I see that they have a major imbalance and that they have an overabundance of the bacteria that is contained in that probiotic, and that has crowded out and pushed out other beneficial bacteria and has created space for opportunistic or bad bacteria to thrive, because it's all about the balance in your gut. So I do not recommend that most people stay on probiotics long term. I recommend there's a season for a probiotic to cycle on and cycle off. I also much prefer spore-based probiotics. That's going to plant a seed in the garden that is your gut. You got to have healthy soil in order for that seed to really take. That 5-step method I've shared about, that's how you get healthier soil, okay? And that is going to help, and then your habits will help that seed to grow into a beautiful, lovely addition into your gut bacteria. So spore-based is really great, and I really like Megaspore Biotic. It is something that you have access to if you sign up for any of my programs or courses at a discount. That is really, honestly, it's one of the very, very best probiotics out there. It is, by the way, shelf stable, which not all of them are, and it's going to be spore-based. The next one is to look into is Saccharomyces boulardii. This is one, y'all, to look into because it is antibiotic. antibiotic resistant. It's one I use a lot of the time when I have clients who have something unavoidable where antibiotics have to be used, and we want to support their gut and not take everything down with that antibiotic use. But I will say Saccharomyces boulardii, not for everyone. It can actually make things worse for some people, but that could be something to look into as well, and just see if that can complement the lifestyle changes that you're making. But first and foremost really would be to eat probiotic rich foods. So to include every day something like sauerkraut or pickled vegetables, or a high quality organic grass-fed dairy source, or even like a kefir water. So eat your probiotics first and foremost. Like swallowing a pill often leads to just a transient effect, especially the over-the-counter stuff you get in the grocery store, which means it's not hanging around long enough to give you enough of a benefit. And there really are particular strains that are good for particular issues. So that's some probiotic info for you. Hey y'all, I'm Marissa Faye. I'm a hormone and gut health expert. I'm answering your questions about hormone and gut health. So Shay asked, do I think parasite cleanse helps as much as people are saying? This is really interesting, Shay, because at the beginning of my practice, like years ago, I used to think like, everyone needs to do an intensive gut rebalancing protocol or parasite protocol. Everyone needs to do it. I will tell you, I've changed and evolved my thought a little bit more. And here's what I think. I think, we deworm our dogs and our pets every year. Have you ever been dewormed? Probably not. So there is possibly benefit to you going through that process. However, you need to help your body get to a point where it can release those things. And most of us are not there. So it is important that you prepare your body in a really healthy way to tolerate something like a parasite cleanse, because you can create more imbalances if you just dive into a parasite cleanse. And not all parasites are horrible, terrible, bad things, just like bacteria and actually candida too. Like it's all about the balance of these things, but there are actually some commensurate forms of parasites. So commensurate means potentially friendly, potentially beneficial in some amount, right? So it's not necessarily like everyone needs to do it, but if you are really on a journey to see how much you could improve your health, it would likely be one of the steps. But I'm not a fan of a lot of, like I know the Huda Clark one that you can find online. I'm not a fan of that one. I build custom parasite cleanses, and I'm actually thinking of doing a parasite cleanse in the new year for you all that you could sign up for. So if you are in the Balanced Hormone Blueprint community or working with me one-on-one, you'll get first access to that parasite cleanse info. But yeah, it's not necessarily where I would start most people. It is something I think in a lifetime that most of us probably want to consider doing though. Yeah. I'm describing you, Christy. Well, welcome. I'm describing probably a lot of you all. So welcome y'all. I'm Marissa. I am a gut and hormone specialist for women, a functional nutritionist. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I love it out here. I love you all sharing your name and where you're from. Hey, Tammy from Michigan. I'm answering your questions about hormone and gut health issue, especially for women. I'm not sure some of these questions, people are naming conditions. I think I've talked a bit about the dietary approach that I would probably start with at a base. That can totally be customized. And if I worked with you one-on-one, we would customize it. But yeah, what are my fave gluten-free items? Angelica, thank you for asking. This conversation around gluten-free stuff comes up every time I get on a camera in front of people. So gluten-free, really important because, gluten triggers the release of a protein called zonulin that relaxes the junctions in your gut and contributes to leaky gut. We also treat gluten in this country with glyphosate, which is incredibly harmful and also can be sequestered into connective tissue, which is why my folks with things like Ehlers-Danlos or rheumatoid arthritis or things like that, I always want to be really mindful of your glyphosate exposure and getting that out of your body. So a lot of nasty, gnarly things that gluten can do in your body. So I recommend most people take it out. Even sourdough too, by the way, not a fan. But my favorite gluten-free items are the things that are naturally gluten-free. So I love root veggies. I think they're incredibly beneficial for a lot of us. If you have trouble digesting root veggies, we need to talk because there's an imbalance in your gut. It's not normal. But I really love root veggies, cooked root veggies. I also really love certified gluten-free organic oats. Really important on that one that it's both of those things. But I find oats, when they're really gently cooked, really nourishing for a lot of women. If you have an issue with oats, by the way, if they are certified gluten-free and organic, first do that because they're often cross-contaminated with gluten-containing grains or corn. but it might actually be the corn piece that's bothering you. So if you're somebody who has trouble with oats that are really high quality, that are not contaminated, you should also explore corn and see if you react to corn. I also really do enjoy like organic rice. I am a fan. So a lot of things that are naturally gluten-free, that's not like it's made to be gluten-free, are great alternatives. And helpful, because a lot of us have like this limiting belief that like going gluten-free is going to be so hard and nothing is going to taste good. And first of all, I went gluten-free 13 years ago. Let me tell you about the products we had access to 13 years ago. Not a whole lot, okay? But now, access to you can get almost anything gluten-free. Get a Thrive Market membership, if you don't have places in your town that you can go to. But look for the things that are naturally gluten-free. That's like the easiest thing to do, right? Like, eat your proteins, eat your starchy veggies, eat your fruits, eat your other vegetables. Like, you're going to be happy if you can shift your mind in that direction. So hope that helps. Okay. I'm seeing some people ask where to start. So, to be honest, I highly recommend, first of all, if you're concerned about budget or you're skeptical about the things I'm talking about, choose a low risk option. Take my course, The Balanced Hormone Blueprint. It's early bird special right now. There's even the option to upgrade and include a full thyroid panel and private visit with me, or an inflammation blood panel and visit with me. So that's really a fantastic way to kind of get in the mix. And I see that my phone is struggling, so I'm going to plug into some power, but that's a fantastic place to start. Okay. You can get a VIP spot at bit.ly/help with hormones. Next thing would be, if you really want one-on-one personal support, I would love to support you. You can set up a discovery call with me at bit.ly/ready4health. But those are places to start. Once you learn from me, you'll be able to apply things for the rest of your life. It really is a fantastic investment just in lifelong health, and you're going to make people in your life healthier. Like, all of my clients and students always write to me after, and they're like, you will not believe, I helped my father, I helped my best friend, right? Because I just taught them this thing that you taught me. So it's an investment in not just you, everyone in your life. Okay, I see Humble Loving Souls. Have you seen anyone heal 100% from MS? I have not had any clients come to me early enough in their MS journey to observe that. However, I have had clients come to me before MS diagnosis where there was a strong heading in that direction and we have been able to prevent it. And I have had clients who have MS and we have been able to manage it and slow it down a whole bunch. So that is what I've seen in relation to MS. And I will always be honest with you about what I've seen in my own practice. I know other practitioners who say they have seen almost complete reversal of MS, but it's hard when somebody is very far down that road and their body is really mounting that defense, because here's what I'll say, it's going to take like years of really dedicating your life to that healing. And, not everybody has capacity, time, energy to do that, but there are things that you can do that are a little bit less of a time energy investment that can make a big difference and help prolong, a healthier life. So I hope that helps. Okay. Hey y'all, I'm Marissa Fay. I'm a hormone and gut health expert. I'm a functional nutritionist. I'm board certified in holistic nutrition. I help women reverse and reduce their symptoms and actually feel better. I'm answering your questions about hormone and gut health stuff. I love your questions and your encouragement. It is very helpful. Thank you for the hearts. I literally speak into this void for hours every day. And I'm so honored that you all are here and want to learn from me, but it is helpful to get stars from you and for you to sign up for my stuff. I really, really appreciate that. Okay. Also, I just was joined by Luna Cat. This is my cat. She's also an energy healer. I'm kind of kidding, but she usually comes when I'm talking about important stuff. Okay, how to start healing leaky gut. I did a video about this today, but truly the big thing is going to be you got to remove exposure to toxins. You've got to change your water source. You've got to improve the quality of your diet. Definitely remove gluten and work on your insulin balance. That's all going to prepare your body and you'll be able to see how far you get. And then there may be certain supplements to pull into the mix, or it might be time to do a stool test and really see what's kind of interrupting healing if you're still not feeling better with that. Okay, Humble Loving Souls. All thyroid tests, ultrasound, blood, and then a dye test all came back inconclusive, your doctor said. Inconclusive for what? I will tell you this. When I look at blood work, I see a lot of things that doctors aren't seeing or aren't pointing out. So especially my thyroid people out here, there's not a full thyroid panel I've looked at that I haven't found something going on, which often leads to us needing to know more about your liver or your blood sugar balance or your inflammation or your gut health. So there really aren't a lot of dead ends when it comes to things like that. I would be very curious about what's actually going on there. Okay, I'm seeing doctor won't test my hormone levels. So they suggested Everlywell. I do not suggest Everlywell. I call them Everly Hell. Their tests for a lot of things are not very accurate, especially hormone tests that are blood-based when it comes to sex hormones like estrogen, progesterone. They're not accurate. They're just not. And you're collecting at one point in time. I do not recommend that. Like if you're going to go through the trouble of investing in a hormone test that shows you something like cycling hormones, I highly recommend you work with me or someone like me and run something like a Dutch test or an EFHP saliva test. Something like that is going to give you a lot better information. And frankly, that information you'll be able to use. Like I have had clients come to me and they have a slew of Everlywell tests. And I'm like, well, this is great, but you wasted hundreds of dollars when we could have gotten the job done like more efficiently and quicker. So I do not recommend Everlywell. I recommend work with me or someone like me. We can help you order tests. And also, by the way, there's an order of operations. People who just dive into ordering a shit ton of tests on you, they don't know what they're doing. Do not trust them because there is an order of operations in your body. And I want to explain this to you because once you understand this, you will never not know this, which is your gut is the center of everything. If you cannot absorb nourishment, if you cannot use nourishment from your gut well, nothing else is going to work very well. Like you have to be able to do those things in order for everything else to have the resources it needs to do its thing. So typically in my practice, I start first with gut health, blood sugar health, right? And reducing things that tend to lead to hormone imbalances. But I don't tend to run, other than a full thyroid panel, I will rarely run like a full hormone test on someone out the gate, unless we talk about it and I share with you like the benefits and drawbacks. And you're like, great, I'm cool with that. Because here's what happens. As we start healing your gut, your hormones change. And so if we've taken you through 3 months of gut healing, you are going to have a different hormone picture than you did before we worked on your gut. So yeah. Let me know if you have other questions about testing. What is good for psoriasis? That is an autoimmune condition, right? So you want to be addressing leaky gut. You want to be addressing your blood sugar regulation. You want to reduce your exposure to toxins. You want to clean up your diet in the right way, rebalance what's landing on your plate. I highly recommend you check out my course, The Balanced Hormone Blueprint. Truly, it is available at bit.ly/help-with-hormones. We are getting started with the cycle coming up in October, and there'll be weekly Q&As like this, but better, because I'm going to have more time for you all and put people in the hot seat. So I highly recommend you check that out. Do I recommend intermittent fasting and fasting to your cycle? Thank you so much for that question. I've talked a lot about that on here, but I know it's easy to miss. I do not. If you are a woman who is menstruating, absolutely not. And I will tell you why. And right, like you do you. Whatever you think is best for your body, great. Here's what I'll tell you. Intermittent fasting is a stressor on your body. When you have female hormones, your body is already attuned to a much more sensitive degree than male hormones. It is attuned to be responsive to any type of hormonal response that tells it like, ooh, not safe. And stress, the release of stress hormones, tells those hormones it's not safe when you have prolonged or continued onslaught and release of those hormones. Intermittent fasting, unless you truly live like a Zen Buddhist life and you have no stressors, no health issues, nothing going on, then you might be able to intermittent fast sometimes. But I really, really don't see this work well for women. And also along these lines, you should be hungry when you wake up. You should eat within an hour of waking. You should eat at least a snack before you do any kind of strenuous movement. And if I were somebody who insisted on fasting, I would skip dinner, not breakfast, okay? From a hormone standpoint, skipping breakfast is like a recipe for just messing your stuff up. Like, no. Upper lip melasma. Yeah, you need to control your sun exposure. You also need to work on balancing your hormones, especially getting xenoestrogens out of your life. You also need to look into things like minerals and fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, and K. So that is where to start with a skin issue like that. Extreme female hair loss. Yeah. So that's going to be a nutrient deficiency most likely and hormone dysregulation. So you need to remove things that are disrupting your gut health. You need to remove things that are disrupting your hormone health. Those are those toxins, xenoestrogens, endocrine disruptors. You need to infuse your body with nutrient-dense foods, like truly. For you, I think a lot about like warm foods. Think about like warm spices like cinnamon and curry and turmeric, right? But that's a nutrient imbalance issue typically, and it points to minerals, it points to hormone stuff and gut stuff. Do I recommend keto? Absolutely not. I do not. Okay, so if you were here at the beginning when I was talking about blood sugar balance, I'm going to give a really short kind of refresher. But if you sign up for my free 3-day hormone training that is going out to the VIP list for my course at bit.ly/help with hormones, there's actually a whole video dedicated to blood sugar balance, and we touch on this a little bit. But so here's the thing. Glucose is the preferred energy source for all of your cells. Glucose is like shorthand sugar, right? Your body needs glucose so much that your liver actually not only can store glucose, but it can make glucose if you're not giving it glucose. And that process of making glucose, oftentimes you're going to be woken up, by the way, 2 to 3 a.m., 1 to 3 a.m. If you're forcing your body to do this, if you're under eating or you're doing something like fasting or keto diet, that's probably going to happen to you. That's your body kicking into being like, oh shit, we got to make our own sugar. So your body's going to break down things like muscle and your tissues to make glucose because it is so important. So why in the world would somebody who wants to prevent that go on a diet that does not give your body any of that quick energy or help your liver to store that stuff? No. To me, that's just like, that is adding, literally making the fire bigger. We want to bring that fire down. We want to control that fire of inflammation and stress. And I really just find in women, in the long term, keto doesn't work. I will give a big asterisk. There are occasions where I work with a client one-on-one and we see a lot of dysregulation in the gut, specific issues in the gut, and we might do something that is not necessarily keto, but veers towards low carb for something like a month, while we also bring in a lot of other supports and do a lot of other things. And that's just to short-term address something, but it's never something long-term that I ever consider. For most of my clients, with a big asterisk too, there is some literature about the use of a keto diet with epilepsy, and so that may be a good fit for a health condition like that, or narcolepsy. Sometimes people benefit from that. So it's kind of a perk drawback question for any of those kinds of conditions. Okay. I'm Marissa Fay. I'm a hormone and gut health expert. I'm answering your questions about hormone and gut health stuff for women. We have covered a lot of bases. Okay, I am officially now going to go in 5 minutes because I've stayed on a little bit longer and I still have protocols for my clients today to build and lots of important stuff to do so I can keep sharing more with you all. Okay, people are asking what to do to begin, what to be doing right now. I highly recommend you check out my course, The Balanced Hormone Blueprint, at bit.ly/help with hormones. Or if you want one-on-one support, you want to really dive in, or you feel like you have complex things going on, or you're not sure where to start, schedule a discovery call with me at bit.ly/ready4health. Those links are also all in my bio. Newly diagnosed with Hashimoto's, any suggestions? Yeah, I made a lot of suggestions earlier. I'm going to download and save this video, so I recommend you check back there. But really important with Hashimoto's that you are helping your gut out, that you're reducing toxin exposure, you're improving blood sugar balance. For any of those kinds of things, usually I recommend removing gluten, improve the quality of your dairy if you're going to keep dairy in, so organic or grass-fed dairy only. Do not eat moldy dairy, y'all. Cut it out. Blue cheese, gorgonzola, absolutely not. If you see mold on a food, that means it is bad. No, mold is such a problem. You do not need to add that to your gut. Also, I am passionate about these things that I get like sassy. It's meant to be funny. I'm not like serious, but truly, like, why are we eating mold? It's gross. Okay. Hey, Leslie from Texas. Yeah. Looking forward to working one-on-one with me. Thanks. I'm looking forward to working with you. I really love my job and I really love helping you all. And sharing this. Okay, I'm going to answer like 2 more questions. What's most important, pre or probiotics, or is it equal? Well, your food should be like full of prebiotics, right? So prebiotics are basically fiber, right? So if you are eating a diet that includes fruits and veggies, you're eating prebiotics, okay? Also, if you're including things like ghee, and gelatin, you're also helping that process along.
I am really a big fan of, first and foremost, get all of these things through your food. And then if you need more support, then add supplements, right? But a lot of us are reaching for supplements way too soon, and we're trying to use it like medication, and it just long-term does not make the difference you're hoping that it will make. Whereas if you really, really change how you are eating, how you are moving your body, how you're relating to stress, your toxin exposure, those are things that are going to last you a lifetime. Those are never going to go out of style or do you wrong. You know what I mean? Also, probiotics, you can overdo it with the same strains over and over and actually cause more of an imbalance in your gut. So I really hate to see that, and I see it a lot. Okay, parasite cleansing. Is it a thing? It is very much a thing. It is not where I would start most people. Most people need to prepare your body to do those things, and most people don't, and then they have bad reactions. Do I work with people that have NASH, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, cirrhosis, low platelets, high iron? Yeah, I work with people that have all kinds of stuff, y'all. Like in my one-on-one practice, I've seen a lot of things. I will tell you if I've not seen what you have or your concern. I will tell you honestly, but I have seen a lot. I've been around the block. I'm not new to this world. I know there are a lot of people who are new and they're like, I'm a holistic nutritionist, I'm a functional nutritionist, and they've been doing it 6 months. I have had my practice for 6 years. I have been in this health field for much longer than that. So I know what's up, and I also know when I don't know what's up. So yeah, you can work with me one-on-one on a whole host of things. We can run all kinds of lab tests. We can nerd out on data together. We can really change your life, frankly. And just set up a discovery call. Let's chat and see if we're a good fit for each other. bit.ly/ready4health. On 2 thyroid medications, progesterone, estradiol, always tired, overweight. Of course you are. Why? Anytime you all share medications you're on or something you're diagnosed with and you have a question with, I first think about why? How do I know? How do I know and why? So with that, I'm like, why? Are you this person who says you're on 2 thyroid medications, progesterone and estradiol? Are you through menopause? Do you have your ovaries? Are you making any estrogen and progesterone? Which, spoiler alert, if you have your ovaries, you are. Because that sounds to me like maybe not the right answer. In general, you all, women who are not fully through menopause often, not every time, but often don't need estradiol. That is really a menopause thing, not a before menopause thing. Typically, there are exceptions to every rule. Progesterone, often helpful. However, progesterone is going to be depleted if you are very stressed. It also is not going to be in abundance if you're not getting the nutrients that help to make progesterone, like vitamin C and vitamin E and enough minerals. And if you're not chilling the fuck out, I just have not met a woman whose progesterone levels can be optimized if we don't change your relationship to health. It's one of the reasons I incorporate things like hypnotherapy and meditation into what I do, because we've got to change your relationship to stress, and we can't expect you to remove it all. Stress is a part of life. Okay, I'm going to answer 2 more questions and then I'm going to go. But if I didn't get to your question, just drop your question on a post of mine. I would love to get back to it later. Is it ever too late to do something for your thyroid? No. Okay, here's what I'll say. So I will share some of my thyroid story. I was diagnosed 13 years ago. I was put on medication. I have been to alternative doctors who really jacked up my medication, had me on mega doses. This is many years ago, mega doses. And also a lot of people who told me these things didn't matter, the things that I now know matter and have seen transform people's lives and health. It's never too late. Your thyroid and your thyroid health is critical and important. Your thyroid is like the thermometer to your body and your metabolism. That is actually important for your survival. It is really. It interacts with things like progesterone and your sex hormones. It interacts with things like your blood pressure. It interacts with things like the rate at which your heart beats. It is important. And so there are always things that we can be doing to just tweak and improve things. Is it going to be something that's a magic bullet? I don't know, right? There are some people where it really is, but is it something that I'm confident you can improve? I am. I totally am. I have not seen anybody who's a lost cause. I will tell you, and I can't believe I'm going to tell you this, the greatest sadness of my life is my uncle who passed away recently, who had cancer. They never figured out the source of his cancer. It was very sad. He also had a lot of resources financially. He also was very convinced that Western medicine was the thing that would save him. And he was not very open to other alternatives. And I am so sad that he was not open to, and I have to be careful, right, about these things I do and ask like, hey, can I share more with you? But I'm devastated that he was not open to learning a little bit more about some of the more holistic and functional ways to support his body, because I really do think the combination of those things really could have kept him here longer and kept him healthier. And so that's just to point out that it's not always that like functional medicine is the only thing or holistic means are the only thing and you have to quit everything else. No, it can be, how do we get the best of both worlds? You know what I mean? Like, how do we learn what is Western medicine really, really good at? And how do we take advantage of that for our best health? And what is functional medicine and holistic healing really, really good at? And how do we take advantage of that? Like, that is the benefit to living in the day and age we do, where we have access to all of this information. Like, that is an amazing, amazing thing. So it is never a lost cause. Nobody is ever a lost cause. There is always something, and really I will tell you the limitation is almost always up here. The limitation is almost always that there's something in you that like you don't feel ready, you feel scared, you feel like you can't do it, you don't believe you can heal. That's almost always the limiting factor in the work that I do. I'm seeing people concerned about gallbladder stuff. I have a whole on-demand class that you can download. Please go take it. It's the cost of 2 movie theater tickets, bit.ly/gallbladder class. It also includes a downloadable guide that talks all about supplements that I see work really well for folks who don't have their gallbladder. Also for folks who want to avoid gallbladder removal. It's a lot of similar information that works in both situations. Okay, I'm seeing someone, progesterone's always high and you can't get hormone regulation. So high progesterone is very rare, y'all. So if you have high progesterone, I want to know, where are you being exposed to progesterone? Is there a cream? Is there a lotion? Is there a medication? Yeah, that is going to be a question. And then if nothing is coming out there, I would want to explore mold exposure. A lot of people are exposed to mold in their home, in their environment. About 25% of people have a genetic mutation where their body cannot detoxify mold. That's not to say for the other 75% that mold isn't a bad idea. It is. It's bad. It's very, very harmful. But the best thing you can do is make sure your detox pathways are open and working and you're reducing your toxic load. So if you haven't already, if you have high progesterone, if you haven't already gone through the things I mentioned in my 5-step process that are in the Balanced Hormone Blueprint, do that. Whether or not it's with me, do it. That is going to be really important for you. And then I would look into some of those things. And if none of that stuff really jumps out, then I would really want to see a cycling hormone profile on you, either urine or saliva. I'd probably prefer saliva in that one because I want to see follicular stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. I want to see, is ovulation happening? Is ovulation happening strong enough? Because something's not adding up there. Maybe your follicles aren't being stimulated appropriately. Yeah, there's something happening there. Payment option states Blueprint and Lab. Hang on, I'm trying to read this. So I've shared a bit about my course, the Balanced Hormone Blueprint, that is right now on Early Bird Special. There is an option to upgrade and add a lab component to it. You can add either a full thyroid panel or an inflammation blood panel, and you also get a visit with me, which is really rare. Typically, I require folks to commit to at least 3 months to work with me, so that's really awesome that we can have that time together. You can sign up and get on the VIP list to get that early bird pricing at bit.ly/help with hormones. Somebody said something. I didn't see your question. I think my phone is telling me it's almost time to go. Payment option states Blueprint and lab panel. Yes, it does. So thank you. So Dina, the option that has the option to add lab work is also a 1-to-1. Yeah. So you will get that as well. It is very reasonably priced. Like, I know other people in this industry who haven't been in this industry as long and maybe don't know as much as I do, who charge ridiculous amounts. And this is really, like, I want to help you. I'm trying to make this accessible. How can you know if you need hormones? Well, first I'd recommend that you go through that 5-step process I outlined earlier, which is reducing toxin exposure and toxic load, improving your blood sugar balance, improving your food and balancing your nourishment appropriately, making sure your detox pathways are working and supplementing smartly. I would make sure you're doing that and change your relationship to stress before I would even reach for hormones. Really, really important, because then you're just like, honestly, you're putting a Band-Aid over a gashing open wound. It's not smart. This is not smart at all, y'all. Like, be smart. I know you are smart, but it's like Western medicine has trained us that like, oh, we'll just throw that in the mix. No. If you want things to stick and stay and hang out and help you feel good in the long term, you need to do that. And I know that's hard and no one wants to hear that because it takes time, but like, I'm here for you. That is the point of the course. That's why there's weekly Q&As. That's why I will constantly be doing things like this for people in my course community, because I want you to be successful and I want to be there to cheer you on. Can you get rid of melasma, someone in menopause? Yeah, you can get rid of melasma, but you have to be prepared to really go down that rabbit hole of healing. And, you know, everybody's tolerance for stuff like that is different. Can a leaky gut cause chronic constipation? Yeah, for sure. But also, if you have chronic constipation, we need to be thinking about your thyroid and your metabolism, because that's a big part of what helps push things along. Also need to be thinking about something called the MMC. Has anybody heard of the MMC? Throw a heart in if you've heard of the MMC. Really, really cool. So it's a process that your intestines do where, have you ever heard your stomach like grumble and growl, but not in a way where you're hungry? It's like you lay down and usually you're very relaxed. You lay down, you're very relaxed. And all of a sudden your stomach is like, what? For me, this always happens when I'm with my boyfriend. It's like we're snuggling and all of a sudden my stomach is like, ooh, you know. That's in part because I'm relaxed. And that is the MMC. It's a sweeping process that happens through the intestines where your body kind of goes back and is like, ooh, did we leave behind any waste here, any bacteria, any critters here that we need to make sure can leave? And it actually is a process where it sweeps through and moves things out, which is really, really important. And sometimes folks who are constipated, that's not happening. And so that speaks to a stress issue. Yeah, that's part of why I always do meditation, mindfulness, and even hypnosis if people are open with them. By the way, hypnosis is not like you are getting very sleepy. No. It is really like going into a deep meditative state and just working with your subconscious mind. So the Balanced Hormone Blueprint is going to have a couple self-hypnosis recordings that I'm telling you is magic for sleep, like magic. It's going to have a couple of that. And I even will probably do some live add-on hypnosis stuff because I love it and I love sharing it with y'all. And it's something a lot of us feel scared about. And then once we try it, we're like, oh my God, that is amazing. So yeah, but let me know if you have questions about hypnosis. I'll do a post maybe tomorrow about it so y'all can drop questions there. Lymphedema, always sick. So lymphedema, if your body is making lumps and bumps, we need to ask what is happening, because bodies that start making lumps and bumps will keep making lumps and bumps. This is why women who have like thyroid nodules also sometimes have PCOS or endometriosis or lymphedema, right? Like that means your body likes to wall things off. Lymphedema, parasites. Parasites are often in the mix there. So you've got to address that. There's also some fat metabolism stuff, which tells me we need to work on the liver. So that's definitely something to consider. And if you're always sick, by the way, if you are never, ever sick, it's also not a great thing. If you are always sick, also not a great thing. I mean, the Balanced Hormone Blueprint could be a great place to start, or you're welcome to work with me one-on-one, or just stick around here and keep learning stuff. Okay, so let's see. My phone is showing me I'm at the end of questions. So I will pause us there. I will just thank you all for connecting with me this evening. Check out the Balanced Hormone Blueprint at bit.ly/help with hormones. Early bird pricing right now. Also, you'll get a free 3-day training. And I'm going to be doing live Q&As all of October, just exclusively for people in the course. You also can add an upgrade that includes a full thyroid panel, a one-on-one visit with me, and you get the course, or a full inflammation blood panel, which tells us a little bit more about inflammatory process and gut health PS, and a one-on-one visit with me. It's incredibly accessible. And you can also work one-on-one with me. We can dive in even deeper and really get in there. And you can go to bit.ly/ready4health. I work with clients virtually all over the United States, Canada, and even some countries in Europe. And I would really love to see if we're a good fit and if I can help you. Okay, one last question. Honey is saying, I'm so frustrated that I have not found the right doctor. Hair has been falling out so much. I'm so sorry. So first of all, I want you all to know medical gaslighting is real. It is incredibly common that people go to their doctor and their doctor is like, that's normal, especially women. That's normal. That's not an issue. That's normal. It's not normal. If you don't feel it's normal, it's not normal, right? Period problems are not normal. Skin problems are not normal. Gut problems are not normal. Not sleeping is not normal, right? Feeling agitated all the time is not normal. Feeling moody all the time, not normal. Feeling tired all the time, not normal. These things are not normal. So even if that's all you take away from today is like somebody who knows some things telling you, looking you in the eye, look me in the eye, saying, just because your doctor says It's normal does not mean it's normal, okay? So just know that. So first of all, you have options. One, you can fire that doctor. Your doctor works for you. Remember that. Your doctor works for you. You can fire that doctor, okay? And you can find a new doctor. Also, you probably need to take some of your healing into your own hands because Western medicine is just not geared towards true healing. They want to keep you in the system, you know? Like, that's how it works. And that sucks. And I know really great people who work in the medical field. Some of my most loyal clients are RNs, so nurses, physical therapists, surgical assistants. Like, I kid you not. Nurse practitioners, I am the one they come to, like, because they are getting that, like, oh, I can't actually get healthy here. So, right, like, amazing for emergency stuff, right? And we all need to have a great doctor in our pocket, but like, you also probably need to take some of your healing into your hands, truly. And whether that's working with me and taking my course, I would love that. And if it's not, great, just take that message and run with it. Okay, do I believe in blood tests that say what your body is sensitive to? Okay, I have to answer this one. And then for real, I'm going to go, y'all. Okay, so food sensitivity testing. Okay, this is another, like, come closer. We've got to talk about it. So food sensitivities don't just happen, okay? The vast majority the case is that there's a gut imbalance and there's likely leaky gut happening, but also things growing in the gut that are causing imbalances. And it's an immune system inflammatory reaction to certain foods because the body is like on heightened awareness and it's like, oh crap, like that looks like something dangerous. That's coming outside of the gut because that gut is leaky. Pineapple, bad, you know, because you just happen to eat and love pineapple, okay? So here's the thing. Food sensitivity test, first of all, you need to make sure it's a good one, like a mediator release test. I like the MRT. It's one of the better ones. You want to make sure that it is both specific and precise. So with the lab, ask them, what is the specificity and the precision of this test? If it's not over 90% for both of those things, walk away. It is not useful. So this is like the Everly Well stuff, right? That I call Everly Hell. This is their shtick. So that's the first thing. Like, you want something that is going to be able to repeat the outcome that it gives you and that has shown it is truly testing for what it says it's testing with each of those foods or chemicals or compounds. The MRT is also really helpful because it does test like some chemicals, some compounds. We can see like acetaminophen, we can see different spices, we can see things even like candida, just a food sensitivity type response to candida. It's also telling us about inflammatory pathways, which is much more helpful than a lot of food sensitivity tests are looking at just one pathway that the immune system can respond. And then the test that I like to use looks at 3 pathways the immune system can respond, which is really helpful. A food sensitivity test is not an allergy test. That is a different pathway. You have to go to your doctor for a true allergy test. But food sensitivities are real, but they develop because your gut has an imbalance and there's an issue going on. If the food sensitivity is to like a real whole food, your body's not meant to tolerate things like food dyes or food additives or natural flavoring. So like, fucking of course you have a response to that, like a food sensitivity type of response to that, okay? So just know that, okay? That's the first thing, know that. So the test that I use, it's called the MRT. That is my favorite food sensitivity test. But I also, just so you know, I caution you because I only use a food sensitivity test in conjunction with the stool test. Because you have to be working on healing the gut and really, really strong rebalancing. So parasite work, possibly bacterial work, possibly also candida work in there. Like all of these things, you have to be addressing what is probably causing like the onslaught of issue. And by removing the foods you're sensitive to, you just bring down some of the inflammation in the body. And that's why it's helpful, because somebody who's really inflamed, you can bring down some of the inflammation. And then it gives you a little bit of an easier way in to work on healing and nourishing the gut. Okay. But I never recommend food sensitivity tests, by the way, are never recommended for you to continue on forever. They should be used for a short amount of time. So when I use food sensitivity tests with the client, we use those results for 3 to 6 months. And then after that, we work on reintroduction process, okay? So it's never, ever meant to be a long-term thing. And that's another thing I hate about like the Everly Hell. It's like, you're supposed to just remove these things. Either it's like you remove it for a week and then you're good, or you're supposed to remove it forever. Like that's just not life, y'all. Yeah, it does make sense, does it? When like you actually hear it, it makes sense. So you have to address what's causing the reaction to the foods. But again, I have clients where like we'll see that they're having a reaction, for example, to like a type of mold, or they're having a reaction to like an NSAID, a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. Like, your body's not meant to love those things, right? So those are not necessarily things that we're going to look to reincorporate, but like real whole foods, kind of like me. So when I first was diagnosed with my thyroid issue and stumbled through all kinds of dietary approaches and finally got my shit together and realized gut healing was essential and got like a really high quality food sensitivity test. I had a shitty quality one before that a naturopath ran that fucked with my head. But finally, when I got a good one, I had to remove eggs, salmon, avocado, all these foods I really loved, right? And I did. Sure enough, after I removed them for a while, I would have issue with them. And that's because it took me a long time to actually figure out how to heal my gut, because I was learning then. This is many years ago, 10 years ago maybe. Now I know the process, right? I've seen it work. And I used to not be able, I'm not even kidding you, I used to have to run to the bathroom when I ate eggs or dairy. I eat those almost every day now, and I feel fantastic. So there is hope. If there are foods you're reacting to, there is hope, but you have to go through the right process to prepare your body to reintroduce those things. And just remember, if it's a real whole food, then like there's a real whole reason for you to be able to enjoy that. And dairy is a great example. This is the last thing I'll say. Dairy is a great example, because the reason folks typically have issue with dairy, if we're talking about real dairy and not moldy freaking dairy like blue cheese, you all know now how I feel about it. If you've been on here, not into moldy stuff, do not eat moldy cheese, okay? But if we're talking like an organic Greek yogurt, right? Your body should be able to tolerate that. And if it can't, that tells us something in the gut. Because part of your gut lining has to actually create the enzymes to help break down dairy. So if you have trouble with dairy, we know there's an issue with gut lining. So we know if we work on healing your gut lining and we bring your gut into a it's very likely that at some point you're going to be able to tolerate dairy. And I'm not like making this shit up. You can go look that up. It's very real. Okay? But I try to explain things in a way that like we can all communicate about, because I really don't like how like. Oh, is my sound gone? I was just talking all about dairy. Okay, well, oh, my voice cut out. Bummer. Okay, is it still cut out now? Because I'll wrap up and I'll re-explain the dairy thing. Can you all hear me clearly now? I get so excited on these lives. Like, I just ramble and ramble. Okay, it's back now. Okay, so last point. I'm going to talk to you about dairy response, and I'm going to recap, okay? Thank you. Thank you all. I really appreciate you. Thanks for the encouragement and letting me know. Okay, so true dairy issues are very rare. Like, you would know if you have a true allergy to dairy, okay? And the reason is because your gut lining has to produce the enzyme that helps your body to break down dairy. So if you have an issue with dairy, like real whole dairy, you know, not crappy dairy, not like conventional fortified milk. No, we're talking like a clean, nice, let's say organic yogurt. If you have an issue with that, there's another issue going on. And we can pretty much safely assume there's a gut issue and the lining of your gut integrity is not what we need it to be. So we pretty much know if we work on that, if we heal that, if we get that into a better spot, it's very likely that you're going to be able to tolerate dairy. And I know that's something that I experienced and that many, many of my clients experience. So that is my point about like real and whole foods, especially, by the way, animal foods. They're incredibly beneficial and healthy for most of us. They're a great way to get fat-soluble vitamins and complete proteins, which you really need for healthy hormones, healthy muscles, healthy function in your body. Like, your body is meant to process these things. And if it's not, something's getting in the way of that. It's not necessarily like the real whole food. Same thing, by the way, with fruit. Like, if you're having an issue with fruit, that's an overgrowth of bacteria that needs to be addressed, right? If you're having an issue with protein, I sometimes have clients where like they're transitioning away from a plant-based diet, and that can be so hard because there's so many reasons we choose to go plant-based. I was plant-based for 6 years. I get it, right? Like, we feel compelled for so many reasons. The environment, the animals, we hear it's better for our body. It's not none of those things are really true except the animals, and that's where you want to just choose well-sourced things where you know that they're treating the animals in such a way and they're living such a life, right? But this is where, like, if you aren't tolerating animal foods, that's a stomach acid issue. Like, if you're not craving animal foods, that's a stomach acid issue. Like, there are real reasons why bodies change their tastes and what they need. And it's not always because your body is trying to help you follow health. It's sometimes your body saying, we can't handle that. Don't give that to us, right? So we got to be curious, right? Bodies are so smart. Like, your body is awesome. Just like take a moment to appreciate, like, your body has kept you alive up until this point. Even if you're dealing with health issues, it's trying. It's really trying to protect you from things. Okay. So like, let's appreciate our bodies. And also let's get curious when something's not working the way we think it should, because there's usually going to be a reason, and there's usually going to be a way to fix it if you're willing, right? If you're willing to do it. So, okay. I am so grateful you all have been here. Thank you so much. I am so grateful for your time, attention, your engagement. I'm seeing what does it mean if you crave carbonated water? That can be a stomach acid thing. That can also be, my brain is going through my Rolodex of things. Carbonated water, mineral imbalance. So that would be something to think about. So I do run mineral tests too, you all. If we work one-on-one, I run hair tissue mineral tests, which are super cool. But also we can look at things like blood and get some ideas of at least what's happening in the blood. So, okay, you can reach out to me if you want to work together. I would love to support you at bit.ly/ready4health and set up a discovery call where we'll just chat one-on-one for 20 to 30 minutes. I can answer questions and help direct you to where you might go. And we can also sign up to work together if it's a good fit. Or I would love to have you in my course, The Balanced Hormone Blueprint. The VIP list is open right now with early bird pricing and special access to an upgrade that includes either a full thyroid panel or a full inflammation blood panel and a one-on-one visit with me. It's awesome. And you can grab that at bit.ly/help with hormones. If you have other questions, feel free to pop them on a post that I've shared. I also will repost this to my YouTube. But I've been on here over an hour now, and I still have client notes and protocols to build for today. So I have to go, but I would love to answer your question. If I missed your question, please post it on one of my posts. I have answered every single comment that I have gotten. I mean that. There are 20,000 people who follow me. I've answered every single comment, so I will get to you. You can also always reach out to me on that other app that begins with an I. I'm the same username, Marissa Faye Wellness, and you can DM me there. I don't have DMs here. So, all right. Thank you all. So glad you were here with me this evening, and I really hope I'll see you in the Balanced Hormone Blueprint, or maybe a discovery call, or you'll just stick around here and we'll keep having awesome chats where we're all learning more. All right. Thanks, everyone.